Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to my Zen Den. I am so very happy that you could join me tonight. My name is Mandy VanHavermaet and I am a demonstrator with Stampin Up in Grey Eagle, Minnesota, and I am happy to be with you tonight. It's been a couple weeks since I've been traveling, one for vacation with my family and one for a conference, a convention. For some other activities that I'm involved in. So it's been a couple weeks and I have missed crafting. I really and truly have not gotten down to my craft room for 2 weeks. It has been 2 weeks and I'm starting to go through withdrawals for real. So I was so happy to come to my craft room tonight so that I could play and show you guys some cool techniques. I'm actually only going to do one card tonight, and that is going to be, it's called a tower fold card. It's a fun fold card. It is not the one that I teased you with on the Facebook post, but it is a different one with the same cutting dimensions and so on. So you can apply this to any suite of products that you want to use. So I am going to flip the camera around and we will get started, and I'll show you what a tower fold card is. So hold on one second. All right. Let's see if I remember how to do this. It always gets a little tricky, you know, whenever I come back. Okay. So far, so good. Oh, there's my hand. Look at that. Sorry. Okay, so we are going to be using the Celebrate Sunflowers stamp set tonight. And I love this stamp set. It is carried over from the catalog last year. I love the stamp set. I think it is so pretty. I love sunflowers, and I love fall. Everything about sunflowers just make me happy. So that is the stamp set that we're going to be using. It does have matching coordinating dies that go with it. So really lots of fun with that set. And this is what a tower fold card is. So it fits inside of an envelope. It mails nicely just like this. The cool part about it is it doesn't open up like a traditional card. What it does instead is it stands up. So I like to leave them sitting like on my counter and things like that at work. And then your sentiment is on the back. So this is a card that I made for a demonstration that I did using the Kindest Gnomes suite, and I think he's so stinking cute. Isn't he cute? I love him. He will actually, this gnome will be sitting at my post office because I just think he's so stinking cute. He's so adorable. But I am going to show you how to make a fall themed card just like this tower fold card using the Celebrate Sunflowers stamp set. So let's get started. I have my dimensions for everything right here. So this is what you will need. And I know it looks like a lot of paper, but it goes together actually pretty easy. So I've got some pieces cut out for us here. You're going to need a 5.5 by 8.5 piece of early espresso. For this color combination, I'm using early espresso. Again, you can change all these things up as much as you want to make your own tower fold card, but this is for the card that I'm designing here tonight. Okay, so we're going to score this, and I will show you the scoring dimensions. They're written here at 2 1/8, 4 1/4, and 6 3/8. So basically in 4 even pieces. Okay, and then you are going to need a piece of early espresso, and this is 1 by 5.5. This is what's going to keep it sealed shut. So we score it down in the middle at 1/2. Okay, so we're just taking a piece. It's the same length as our cardstock, but where it's 1 inch wide, and we're scoring it down the center. Okay, and then we've got 4 pieces of Cajun Craze, some nice fall colors, right? So 4 pieces of Cajun Craze, and these are 1 7/8 by 5 1/4 each. 3 pieces of Designer Series paper, and they're cut at 1 5/8 by 5 inches. And I want to tell you guys a secret. Keep an eye on your Designer Series paper. This is the, let's see, it's called Butterfly Kisses Designer Series paper. This is some really beautiful paper, but you would never guess that I would make a fall themed card out of this designer series paper, right? It's very pretty, it's very colorful, but I like the crushed curry color here, and that's a nice fall color. So just because you have a spring pack of paper does not mean you only make spring and summer cards with it, right? We got to expand our thinking a little bit. So that's a great, keep an eye out on your designer series paper. So 3 of them at 1 5/8 by 5, and then I have 1 piece of basic white at 1 5/8 by 5. So those are my panels. And then you're going to need 2 little tabs. And these little tabs I've cut at 3/4 by 1 1/2, and then I scored them down the middle at 3/4 of an inch. So you've got 2 squares of equal size, okay? And then our flower, which I've already cut out, I'm going to show you how I colored it. I just wanted to cut it out or stamp it previously because I stamped it in early espresso ink, and I wanted to make sure that it was really, really cured dry. And then I've got some leaves here too that I've stamped and cut out in old olive cardstock with old olive ink. So let's make our card. So I told you we're going to score it at 2 1/8 and 4 1/4. And then I just have this aversion to swinging my arm out. You can swing the arm out on your cut and score. I just don't. Since it's equal pieces, I'm taking my cardstock out, I'm turning it over, and I'm putting it back in at 2 1/8. Just because I don't know what it is. I just, opening that arm just is something to me. Okay, so I've got that all scored, and I had already scored my other 2 pieces that needed scoring. So we're going to fold and burnish these. We don't even need to burnish them, but I'm going to fold them. So what I'm going to do is simply attach it like this. So I'm taking this piece here, the 1-inch piece, and I'm going to fold that and take my adhesive, and I am going to make sure that my adhesive is, that my piece of paper is really good and stuck. I don't want to skimp on the adhesive. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up with the very edge on the corner, and so it runs right along just like that. So now you've got it attached here, right? And so now I'm going to put more adhesive on the part that folds in, and then I'm just going to do that. And make sure you press it down really, really good so that adhesive takes hold. And there you go, you have your box. How simple is that? It seems so hard, but it is really and truly not hard. So let's decorate it up. So I'm going to take my Cajun Craze, and I'm just going to center them on each panel of the card. You've got your score line so you can see where center is, right? Okay, and then on the back side, oops, went off a little bit. That's how we get goobers on our table. Goobers. That's an official stamping word. I should have a new stamping word every time I have a live, because I seem to make up a lot. Last one of these. And so the card naturally tends to fold so that seam is on the outside. So you need to choose which one of these. So what I mean is this part that you've made, that you've attached the 2 sides, it naturally tends to fold like that. And I'm not sure why. Just maybe I've made it, I don't know. So I'm going to take my crushed curry panels and put those on. So I'm putting 2 on the front and 1 on the back. And then I'll stamp my sentiment. And what a neat reminder this card is. So that, I mean, it's not only is it a card, but it's kind of a piece of art that you're giving to your person that you're giving it to. So I just love it. I love this fold. I am not sure where I ever found it. somebody somewhere along the line gave me this card, and of course, when you give me a fun fold card, I'm going to dismantle it if it's a new fun fold, so that I can figure out how to make it, because that's just how I roll. That's how I learn. Okay, so I've got every piece here. My 3 panels are all done. I'm going to stamp on my basic white. I've got Early Espresso ink, and I've got the sentiment from the Celebrate Sunflower stamp set, Know That You Are Loved. So I'm just going to ink that up and stamp it straight down, straight up. Perfect. Now my Early Espresso ink is a juicy, juicy ink pad. It tends to take a little bit of time to dry. Not sure why that is. So I'm just going to let that sit for a little bit while I color my sunflower. And I did cut out a second sunflower shape in crushed curry as well, just so it kind of hides everything and it holds everything together. And I'll show you how I do that. So I'm going to bring in my blends. I have got, I was like, something's not right here. I've got my Pumpkin Pie Light and Dark. I've got Mango Melody Light and Dark. I liked that better than the crushed curry because in my head, a sunflower is very bold. So you could use crushed curry also. That would be just fine. I've got my Soft Suede Light and Dark, and then I've got my Color Lifter as well. So how I go about doing this is I am going to take my dark pumpkin pie and I'm just going to go like on the inside, and I'm not doing anything too specific here. I tend to be, you guys know I'm a bit of a lazy crafter, right? I tend to not get too in depth in my coloring, but I do like how this turns out, so bear with me. So I've got my pumpkin pie, and also bear with me, I think my dark Mango Melody is, oh, look at that. Look at how nice that is. It was not working well earlier. So I'm just going to take my dark Mango Melody, and I'm really going over that orange, that pumpkin pie that I just colored, and it tends to blend, thus the name Stampin' Blends. So it looks really cool. And you just keep going over it and over it and over it, and it keeps blending it out, and it makes that center, gives it a lot of dimension and depth, right? Okay, so now I'm going to take my light Mango Melody, and now I'm going to be a little bit more careful because I'm going up into these edges. I give people who like do a lot of coloring so much credit. I do color, but I don't like the really fine things. Oh my word. Some people do just amazing, amazing work. And I have to say, Stampin' Up! Does make it easy so that we look like we do, like we worked really, really hard on something. When sometimes it's really not all that tough, right? So this is coming together so beautifully. Oops, I just went outside the line. Don't tell anybody. It's kind of like building a house, right? The builder knows where all the mistakes are, but most people can't see the mistakes, so don't point them out. Oh, isn't that pretty? I love it. And so now I've got, and I'm just going to kind of go around and blend that in a little bit so it goes a little darker. And then I'm going to take my Color Lifter, the big end, and I'm just going to kind of go over the tips a little bit to lighten up that just a little bit more on the outside, so it's really dark on the inside and a little lighter on the outside. The thing about a Color Lifter, I will tell you, it won't lift right away. It's one of those deals where you kind of just gotta trust what you've done and not do too much. So isn't that pretty? Okay, let's do our, so I didn't use my light orange, but you can do more if you want. So now with the dark Soft Suede, I'm going to go right around the outside here. And then I'm also going to go in the inside just a little bit, because these lines, or the inside of the sunflower really shows nice in there when you're looking close. And then I'm going to take the light, and there again, remember I said I just blend, blend, blend. I just keep going over it, and it tends to blend more and more and more. All right, so there is our sunflower. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I just love that sunflower. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so now I'm going to take my leaves. This is why I colored or cut out a solid one, so that we could hide that messiness. People don't need to know what our process was, right? They just think that we do great work, which we do great work. So we're gonna line up those, that flower, and so when you flip it over, it kind of camouflages all that. That's my reasoning for that. So I'm going to take some liquid Tombow glue, and I'm going to line up my leaves, which I think I'm going to do one about right there, and then I think I'm going to do two maybe right down in there. Okay? Put those on. As you can see, I'm very technical in my task here. So that's what my leaves will look like on there. And so now you can tell, by the way I'm lining it up is I've got a couple of petals that are curved over there. So that's where they line up. So let's put some glue on the back of, woofty. Hey, there's another word I just made up. Be careful with your glue that you don't put too much on, that it's gonna ooze out. Another thing you could do is, if you wanted to, you could use adhesive sheets. That would make it so that it's definitely not going to ooze out. I just didn't have enough foresight to do that, and I thought about it after I had it all cut out, and then I thought, nope, not going back. There ain't no going back. So let's see here. Those are my two, and this is why I'm using Tombow glue also, because then I can I have a little bit of wiggle room before it sets. So there we go, all put together. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I love my little sunflower. I think I'm actually going to set it that way because it looks like it's facing up. Okay, so now that I've had this setting for a little while, let's take our adhesive, put our back panel on. Isn't that the worst, when you go and you've stamped something and you've taken all that time and then you go whoosh, and it smears? It's heartbreaking. I don't want to do that. Okay, so this is the back of our card. This is where you would sign your name or whatever you'd like to. Isn't that nice? Wouldn't you? Seriously, know that you are loved. Love it. Okay, so we've got our two little tabs here, and these are 1.5 by 3/4, and they're scored down the middle at 3/4 so that they fold in half nicely. Okay, that's the whole purpose of scoring them. So you've got two 3/4 inch little squares. So what we're going to do is we are going to, my brain just quit working, yep. We're going to put the fold in the center, okay, just like this, so that these two tabs pop up, okay? So that's what we're going to do. So let's get some adhesive. And put that, I'm going to put it up a little higher than center. And this one goes exact opposite side of it, so, and they don't have to be identically perfect. If you're off just a little bit, it's not that big a deal because these are going to be hidden. But see how I've made it so they're kind of the same color, as is this is the same color, right? So are you picking up what I'm laying down? It's going to kind of camouflage. So a little bit of adhesive on each one of our squares. like that. And then we are going to sit our sunflower. Yes, I want it like this. We're going to sit our sunflower right there, just like that. So when you get that card, isn't that a pretty card? But to see it and go, da-da, isn't that cool? Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I love it. Okay, we're going to put just a couple of little rustic metallic dots. I am in love with the rustic metallic dots because they are rustic. They're a great fall embellishment. They work great because they're not quite so bright and in your face kind of deal. So, all right, how about that? Isn't that pretty? Oh, I love it. And so then there's the back, so you can see how they're the same, just a different set, a different suite of products, right? So this is tonight's card. I do want to show you one more thing while I have you here. Paper pumpkin. I got my paper pumpkin today, so I will be working on some alternates with that over the weekend. This is the paper pumpkin from this month. If you missed out, it's also sunflowers, and it's so pretty. But inside the paper pumpkin, there was this little flyer, this postcard, and the winter paper pumpkins are like my favorite. The holiday ones, the one in September is always Halloween themed or fall holiday themed. This one is going to have, they told us that it will be 18 treat packages, so that's really fun. And then these two, let's see here, this is the October one, this will be the November one. One of them is going to be cards, one is going to be gift tags. I have never experienced a paper pumpkin in October and November that I haven't liked. They are my favorite of all the paper pumpkins all year long, every year. They're usually outstanding. So I do know that those are the 3 paper pumpkins coming up. Again, it is Celebration. So if you were to order a 3-month subscription, you could go and get those 3 paper pumpkins, $67.50, and then you could choose a $50 free item from the Celebration through the end of August, through August 31st. So I'll put a link in the description of this video directly to the paper pumpkin for you to subscribe for that. It is a great deal. I love them, and they are so fun to pull up to the mailbox, and you get your typical bills, and then you get your paper pumpkin, and it's so much fun. Love, love, love paper pumpkin. So I'm going to flip the camera around and say goodbye. Oh, don't know what that was about. Okay. All right, so I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and you're on YouTube, please give me a thumbs up. I would so very much appreciate it. Otherwise, I will see you back here next week on Friday at 8 p.m. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much.